What's up, YouTube? It's the Action Figure Grader coming back to you with more recent prices for vintage Minton card Star Wars action figures and a number of different items sold from AFA CIB, kind of the second round, if you will, of some of the high-grade beauties that they had for sale. I needed to share this article with you. I'm sure most of you have already seen this if you follow Star Wars figures, but this was an interesting article from the end of January. There was a person in the UK that found in their attic two mint-on card Palatoy 12-back Jawas, vinyl cape Jawas. These are the Palatoy, much more rare than the US Kenner cards. Apparently, according to this article, there are only 10 to 15 examples of this documented. Excalibur Auctions handled the sale, and the seller was just cleaning out his attic. I think they belonged to his father or something. I can't remember the entire story, but it is a holy grail figure given the rarity and how few of these there are of these still mint on card. So they did sell in an auction, and this was the second of the two that sold for 19,500 pounds. Pretty big number there. And in July, the identical one, it must have been in better shape given the price, but it could be part of it is the slow drop in prices in general. But the first one sold in July of 2023 for 26,670. So the owner made about, let's call that 45,000 to 50,000 pounds. Obviously, you got to include commission charges and things like that, but you're probably talking about walking away with in the neighborhood of 30 to 35,000 pounds, I would think, after all expenses. Pretty amazing number. Each figure was estimated to attain 10,000 to 15,000 pounds. So they blew past those numbers. At least on the second one, it was almost double. On the first one, it was almost double at 26,670. The second one came in a little closer at 19,500. So it could have been condition changes or differences between the two, but pretty incredible. The figure owner, who worked at Marvel UK between 1974 and 1979, received a range of gifts from the UK toy company Palatoy during the promotion of the Star Wars line in Marvel Comics. So pretty incredible and an awesome find. So I just wanted to share that with you in case you had not seen that news. All right, let's dig into some mint-on cards that sold on eBay. The first one is a 21-back free Secret Star Wars action figure offer Chewbacca. So this is the transition card on the Empire Strikes Back card. Only the first 21 figures appeared on this card back, as you can see there. Collect all 21. That one sold in an auction for $521 US. I can't tell if it was a clear blister or if it was slightly yellow. To me, it looks like it might be slightly yellowed, but still in pretty good shape overall. 75 plus or an 80, I would think, pretty easily for a very tough to find transition card for Chewbacca. Same seller also had this. I think this was a 31-back FX7. I believe this is the debut card. And, very nice card image. The blister on this one was pretty mangled, unfortunately. It did have a big kind of crunch at the top of the blister, but because it is still clear blister, this one looks clear blister to me. It was punched with a Grand Central price sticker on there. It still sold for $344. Now, in a high grade for debut card, maybe, an AFA 80 unpunched, no price stickers, you're probably easily going to get in the $1,000 range. That's a very desirable debut card, apparently. And I can't tell if the blister was pulling away here. You can kind of see on the right-hand side there. It might be reflections, but it might be that the blister is starting to pull away from the card back, but you can see some kind of litho issues going on. And that does happen, Don't automatically assume that it's a reseal when you see that, because it does happen. These items are 40-plus years old now. So you are going to have some degradation issues on a lot of these, especially if they were not well cared for like this one. So you can really see it here in this close-up. So to me it might have been reflections, because here it looks okay, but you can see that's got the crosshatch seal there. So who knows? But anyway, I just wanted to point that one out because that is the debut card, and usually very expensive when you don't have any blister issues like this one does. Next up was a Dangar. Again, it had some blister dings on it. This one looks like it might be slightly yellowed. It might just be the Dangar. It might be a clear blister. It's hard to say. I think this one is the 41-back E. 41-back E for Dangar. This is a pretty common one to find for Dangar, although it's not common to find it you know, very high grade. They almost always have big dings on them like this one does here. Apparently, I didn't know this, but someone told me that because it's got such a wide backpack on the back, that the blister is obviously larger, and these were also peg warmers. Nobody wanted poor Dangar, which you can understand. He was kind of an ugly character and had a very minor role in the movie. So anyway, I can see why he was a peg warmer, but I love him. I love Dangar, obviously, and I just picked up another Tri-Logo here recently. So I don't know why I like Dangar. I always played with him as a kid, probably because I kind of looked like him when I was a kid. I was very chubby as a child, very much picked on. I still got, you know, issues with that. No, I'm kidding. But anyway, I did look like him though. I did. I really did. I was a big kid. Anyway, this one sold for $296. I think it is a clear blister there. It looks clear on the edges there. So tough to find clear blister. But yeah, the 41E is pretty common to find for Dangar, and the 41A is another one. I think that's the debut card, the 41A. But anyway, just wanted to share that one, $296. Here was one I sent out to my Patreon supporters as the auction was ending, because with maybe like 2 or 3 hours to go, it was still at like $220. So I did to my Patreon supporters, I sent out, hey, this auction's ending, and it's still really cheap. So I just wanted to make you aware of it in case you didn't know about it. Because some of these items, they come up after I've already filmed my what to buy video, and they end before the new what to buy video comes up. So I got some kind of time in there. There's like 3 or 4 days in there where really nice stuff comes up that I can't show on the what to buy video, because I try to only do those once a week. So my Patreon supporters, they get kind of these alerts, that either buy it now alerts, or in this case, it was an end of auction alert. And I hope that one of y'all picked it up, because I thought it ended for a great price. This is the Kenner Canada 41 back C Han Hoth. And you can see it's unpunched. It did have some slight yellowing to it, but that's a beautiful card. It was AFA 80 yellow blister, straight 80s for the sub score. And they ended at $447, which, I mean, if I had any money, I probably would have bid on it myself. But that was a really good deal in my mind for a foreign card back. I was looking for the back of the card. Here you go. La Guerre des Étoiles. So this is a really nice Kenner Canada card back in an AFA 80, straight 80s for the sub score, unpunched. You know, it's a shame that it was a yellow blister, but it was only lightly yellowed. You can see there, not too yellowed at all. So that was a very, very nice item for $447. That's a price I would have paid in a heartbeat. Great buy if you happen to pick that one up. Next up, another buddy of mine picked this one up. I was watching it, and again, it kind of ended, and I think I didn't include this one in a what to buy. Maybe I did. But this was a 41 back E, I believe. Is that the E? It looks like the E. It's a 41 back for the AT-AT driver, and you know, these offerless ESB AT-AT drivers are really hot. That's one I really would like to pick up at some point this year. I've got a 48 back Revenge sticker, but I don't have this one. I would like to pick one of these up. This is nice. But anyway, it had some slight condition issues. It wasn't perfect. It had a ding on the blister top. It looks like the very top of the blister's got a couple of dings on it, but it was clear. Very light edge wear. This is probably like 75 grade condition, and it sold for $257, which I thought was a good deal. High grade examples will set you back $800 to $1,000 all day long. So I thought that was a really good buy. Congrats! I know who bought that. I'm not gonna spoil it. I don't want to spoil his surprise. Here is the exact same card, I believe. Let's see. Yeah, exact same card, 41E. And this one was another item from CIB. So I showed in a previous video the big kind of free-for-all that happened right when they listed everything. And so some of them trickled out afterwards. You know, some of them sold after sitting for a little while, and they've become a little bit more flexible on the price. So for those of you that are looking for any high-grade mocks, there's still a few on there, but most of them have sold at this point. But this one was a 41E AFA 80. Now, it did have some bad sticker residue in the upper left. It's a shame that it has that. I would think that would come off, so I don't know why that... why it's still on there. It seems like that would just peel off with maybe some lighter fluid or something. I don't know. But beautiful otherwise. Unpunched card, clear blister, 80, 85, 85 were the sub scores on that. It was listed for $725. And this, you know, there's like 3 I think I'm going to cover now that were in my, of everything that's left, here are the ones that I would pick out, you know, and this was one of them. and another AT-AT driver was another one. But this one was listed for $725 and sold for $650, which is about what they're coming off of the list price. There's a few more we're going to show in a second where they've come off a little bit more, but in general, it seems like when they first got listed, they were only coming off about $50 to $75, maybe $100 to $150 on the more expensive items that were like, you know, $1,200 plus. So that was a beauty. I really like that one. Here is the Lando. This was a 32B Lando AFA 80. So not the debut card, straight 80s for the sub score. You can see why it got the 80 for the figure. In addition to the weapon coming loose inside the cape, or inside the blister off the tape, that would automatically drops it to an 80. I would argue that this is really more like a 75 score. Now, this could just be reflections, but to me, it looks like the torso on this is starting to yellow, which does happen with some Landos. This is the no smile Lando. So again, it could be reflections coming off of that ugly tape down there that's reflecting up onto it, because that tape is probably yellowed, so that might be reflecting onto his shirt. To me, it looks like the figure's starting to degrade a little bit, but anyway, not that it really matters. I wouldn't have cared, but this was another one that was kind of on my short list because I don't have a Lando on an ESB card. I'd like to get that. I had one, but Chris W. over at Rogue 5 Toys took it back from me after giving it to me as a gift, but that's another story that I've already beat to death. This one was listed for $675 and did sell for $675. But, you know, it might be a little high. I've seen them for less on Facebook. I've seen them for like $550 or so on Facebook, the same grade. But that's not a terrible price. I mean, you know, $670. I probably would have paid more like $600, $575, somewhere in there. But I've seen them for $550 or so on Facebook. Next up is a Greo. This was a beauty. Clear blister, unpunched with a price sticker, Walgreens price sticker, but this is the Star Wars Display Arena 45 back offer. I love that blue pop with the green of the background of the card back, and then the green, obviously, of the figures. I just, God, love it. Looks amazing. I love that one. That one was listed for $725 and sold for $625. So they came off $100 on that one. And again, that was an AFA 80, 85, 80, 90 were the sub scores on that. That is a beauty. That was on my short list, too, of items that were still left. In my mind, I was thinking, well, maybe they're still around in 2 months, John, when you get some more money. No, they're not. They're not going to be around. No, they're not, John. You've already gotten enough. You got 2 of them. So here was that Meccano Jawa, square card Jawa. This was an AFA 80, 285 sub-scores, unpunched. That was a beauty. Clear blister, too. That was listed for $850, and it sold for $750. So he came off another $100 on that. That was a good buy. That $750 for that one, I thought was a really good buy. I have an uncirculated 80 that I paid $885 for, somewhere in there. So I paid a lot more. $750 is a good deal. I think that's a very good price for a beautiful. And again, it's the most common of these square rectangle card Meccanos, but I mean, it's a high grade and, you know, very desirable to have in your collection. It's just the card art's awesome. And as Scott H pointed out, you know, this does have the blue snags on the back. It's just got lots of going for it, given that it's a foreign card back. It's just different. The card art, everything about it. All the poopy. I love all the poopy. That's pretty awesome. All the 12-inch figures there. So, very, very cool item. And again, $750 on that one. Here was the other one that was on my short list. I really wanted this one bad, but I decided to go for the Tri-Logo Dangar PvP and the 77 back Luke, which if I haven't shown it by the time this video airs, I'm sure I will soon. But this one was the other one I really wanted because I love these cards, these 48 back transition card, Return of the Jedis. This was for the AT-AT driver, unpunched or slightly punched, you know, a little bit of wear around the hang tab there. But that was a beauty. AFA 85, straight 85 sub-scores. That was a nice one. And that one was listed for $850 and sold for $775. So they came off $75 on that. Worth every penny. I mean, I'm starting to rethink whether I should have gotten this one instead of the 77 back Luke Bespin. But at the end of the day, I didn't have a Luke Bespin brown-haired Minton card. And I just thought it was kind of a nice addition to what's already in my collection. So maybe that was the wrong choice. But I have a decent AT-AT driver run going too. I've got 3 of them. But I don't know. I think in the end, this is probably the rarer of the 2 cards. You see 77 back Lukes all the time, but you don't necessarily see this one very often. I would argue this one's probably more rare, but Luke is a bigger character, and, you know, I just decided to knock it out. Next up was a Tri-Logo Tebow. This was another one that I thought of the ones remaining, this was probably the best deal. It was an AFA 80, and it was listed for $375 and sold for $320. So pretty good deal on that. You know, in an auction, would it sell for 320? Probably not, but maybe, I don't know. You know, to me, I feel like I see them in pretty good shape on eBay sometimes for 200 to 250 pretty regularly, but to get it already graded, I mean, you're taking a lot of grading risks with tri-logos. That's been my experience, that when I submit something to grading, whether it's AFA or CAS, and I've tried both with tri-logos, I feel like I have no idea what it's going to come back with tri-logos with either company. I do feel like of the three big grading companies, CAS is the harshest on them. I just think that they are very harsh on them. And maybe they've lightened up a little bit, because I feel like my latest tri-logos last year that I submitted, they were dead on the money as to what I thought they should have gotten. But AFA is probably the second harshest. And sometimes I see some AFA examples that are very generous, like my Lando Bespin that I got on Facebook and I showed you guys already. I think that was overgraded. UKG is, if I had to guess, I would say UKG is probably the most accurate with tri-logos, because they have more experience with them, right? They get them all the time, probably, over in Europe. So anyway, that's my opinion on it. But I just feel like it's impossible to grade a tri-logo when you submit one. You never know what you're going to get back. But I've gotten better. I've gotten a little better with it. But I think all the ones I submitted last year, and I think I submitted at least 3, but probably more like 5. And they all came back around the same grade as to what I was. I think I submitted 5, and I think all 5 of them came back very close to where I expected them to go. The only one that was lower than I expected was the Vader. I thought that was going to get an 80 plus, and it only got an 80. But anyway, I'm more information than you guys care about. Here was the A-Wing pilot. This one did have some yellowing to the blister right there. It's very faint. But so it's yellowed since grading, but it's straight 85s with the clipper offer. That was tempting because I've got 2 other last 17 tri-logos, and both of them had the clipper offer. So this would have fit in nicely to get another last 17 with the clipper catalog on the back, but I didn't want to go for it. So that one sold for 10, or it was listed for 1025 and sold for 900. So they came off $125 on that one, which seems to be what their MO is. CIB, I'm talking about the seller here. You know, if it's over $1,000, it seems like they're coming off $100 to $125 in general. So that was a nice one. Here was Brian's Toys. They had a number of items that sold here recently. This was a made in Mexico Vader punched example with some light sticker residue in the upper right-hand corner. AFA 80, that one sold for $455. We just documented an AFA 85 that sold in like the $750 to $800 range. So that was a good deal there for an AFA 80. Next up was a yellowed blister 77 back Yoda Kenner US card, AFA 80. 75, 80, 90 were the subscores on that one. Beautiful brown snake Yoda, black Pac-Man eyes. That one sold for $695. That's a little bigger than I expected given the yellow blister, but Yoda's a pretty desirable character. Here is that Boba Fett that I think I had in a what to buy video. This was only an AFA 50 because you can see the figure has degraded, and I think it was straight 50s. Yeah, straight 50s. When's the last time you've ever seen that? Straight 50s. ESB 41 back D. Boba Fett, this was a punched example, no price sticker. That one sold for $13.25, which I know that's a lot of money, but that's about as bargain of a Minton card graded Boba Fett on an ESB card, especially, that you're ever going to find. So pretty cool item there. And they also had a Ramba graded AFA 80 unpunched. That one sold for $305.29, another very fair price in my mind. Here was the Imperial Dignitary unpunched, and I think one of my Patreons bought this. I sent this out as a Patreon alert saying, hey, they got to make an offer on this one. I think it would grade an 80. That was my estimate. Pretty nice shape overall. It could get an 80 plus. That one was listed for $340 and sold for $300. Again, that's a price I'd pay all day long. Very nice example there. And then finally, here was an AFA 85, a Monomon, 80, 85, 85 were the subscores on that. Unpunched, no price sticker. What a beauty. That sold down in Australia for 1,225 Australian dollars, which is about 800 US. So that's the biggest number I've seen for a Minton card, a Monomon, in a little while, but it was an AFA 85. So got to keep that in mind. Unpunched, not too bad with the yellowing either. So very, very nice item there. So lots of good stuff on eBay here recently. I hope you enjoyed this look at recent sales. If you're new to the channel, please consider subscribing. Please leave a like if you like this video to help out with the algorithms, and I'll be back soon.